One percenters, let's go. Be back with another episode. Team USA's out of the World Cup, but there's still some great stories that came from that team. And one of those stories being that of Brenden Aaronson, or as he's known from where he's from, the Medford Messi. And this hometown hero spotlight is going to showcase that town that he came from, Medford, New Jersey, and how it shaped him into the person he is. And by all accounts, Medford, New Jersey is your regular old down-home South Jersey town without too much going on. Aside from what Mayor Chris Myers had going on in 2011, let's just call that an anomaly. But it's known for its summer camps. That's a lot more wholesome. It's known for the local high school that produces not only great students, but also produces really good student athletes. It's a really good school, blue ribbon school, all of that good stuff. South Jersey is actually known for having a lot of really good schools. And when I was doing my research on good old Medford, New Jersey, I stumbled across this flyer from 2024 about the Dickens Festival, which is apparently their huge festival that they have in the main street of the town, which happens Christmas of every year, and everybody comes. They have food, they have caroling. Apparently, it's like the Macy's Day Parade of Medford. So it's something they take a lot of pride in from what I saw, and really a way for their entire community to come together. Another huge reason that a small town might come together around a singular thing would be when your town has a world-class professional soccer athlete who ends up competing for the United States men's national team. But anybody from this small South Jersey town will tell you that Brenden always wasn't world-class, and he wasn't always destined to be one of the top American performers in the sport. And even though he's a little on the smaller end now, when he was in his preteen and teenage years, he was tiny, smallest guy on every field he was on. He started to doubt himself. He started thinking that he couldn't make it strictly because of size. But the great thing is, it never ever stopped his work ethic. Eventually, as Brenden grew, his confidence grew, and he was good enough to actually attend the YSC Academy, which is the academy for the Philadelphia Union. Brenden stood out in the academy so much so that he was called up to the Bethlehem Steel in 2017 and actually forego his college eligibility at Indiana University, which he was planning to attend. After a few good starts and showing what he could do with the Steel, it was only right that the Union offered their homegrown player a full contract. So March 17th, 2019, Brenden signed with the Philadelphia Union. And in his first, no less. That great rookie year got him a Rookie of the Year nomination, in which he finished runner-up. And on top of that, out of the finalists, he was the youngest finalist out of everyone. But BA was just getting started at Subaru Park. The rookie year was only a prequel to what he would do in his second year. In 2020, he ended up with 31 caps. He was the 2020 MLS Best 11, and he had 11 goal contributions, but that doesn't nearly tell the story of how effective he was that season. He was pushing the tempo, he was pressing high, he was creating turnovers. He was the engine to the Philadelphia Union that year. Everything they did, he was creating chances for everybody. He had 7 assists, and he had a ton of hockey assists where he just made something happen in the box. So he was inevitable for that best 11, and naturally the moves that he's made since were all basically started because of that crucial 2020 year he had with the Union. What all the scouts were saying about his performance was he was bringing European-style ball to the championship for his team. He got a trophy, his first one in the MLS, as the Union won the 2020 Supporters Shield. BA bought a trip to Philly before Embiid could. Okay, sorry, that was a low blow to the process. And BA wasn't the only star on that team. That team was low-key stacked. We're talking Matt Freese was on that Union team. Mark McKenzie was on that Union team. Jamil Matero was on that Union team. Andre Blake was on that Union team. So Yeah, they were dead nice. One of those teams where you're like, in the moment, you're saying, okay, this is a good team. But as you look back, you're like, yeah, that team better had won the chip when you see how much talent it was stacked with. So naturally, after his great work with the Philadelphia Union and the U.S. men's national team, he got his first call from Europe. And that call was from Red Bull Salzburg, who was in the Austrian Bundesliga. And at the time of Brenden's signing, it was the highest transfer fee for a homegrown MLS player, even though it was an undisclosed fee. And he had a world-class first season where he had 15 starts, 10 goal contributions. At Salzburg, he moved from more of a wide attacker role to a central creative playmaker role, as RB Salzburg won the Austrian Bundesliga and qualified for the Champions League. And most would think, what's a small American kid from South Jersey going to be able to do in the Champions League? Well, you would be surprised. He actually, in his 2 years that RB Salzburg qualified for the Champions League, he had 10 starts where he scored 2 goals, add on 2 assists, and the most important thing is he helped the club reach the round of 16 for the first time in their history. Come on now. That's autograph worthy. The Medford kid was really making a name for himself over there in Austria. And it seems the people were really starting to take a liking to him. So in his 2 years and 47 appearances for RB Salzburg, they had 2 of their most successful years as a club. First year won the Bundesliga for Austria. The second year won the double, the Bundesliga and the Austrian Cup. So naturally, when you have that much success somewhere, everybody's watching, especially when you can do it on the stage as big as the Champions League. And to do it with the talented group that he did it with. We're talking Noah Okafor, who plays for the Swiss national team, Luka Sukic, who plays for Croatia, Benjamin Sesko, Man U forward. So we're talking about some really good players that he was playing alongside. And then Brenden capped off that amazing 2022 season with a World Cup trip with the U.S. men's national team. Mind you, the result wasn't exactly what we wanted, kind of like this year. The result wasn't exactly what we wanted, but to be there, to be a part of it, to play with a lot of his teammates from back in the day, Union days, teammates from Salzburg, and future teammates, I'm sure it was an amazing experience for him. And hey, being at the World Cup is being at the World Cup. But post-World Cup, Brenden was going to be finding a new home that he was going to be playing football at. And the club he will be transferring to is, drumroll please, Leeds United in West Yorkshire, United Kingdom. So Leeds is a Premier League team in the UK, obviously. And Brenden signed for £24.7 million, which was a huge signing for an American player. At Leeds, he was joining other American players at Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie. And we're going to be very transparent here. That first year at Leeds was rough. So rough to the point where they went from being a Premier League team to being relegated, which is the worst thing that can happen as a Premier League team. So bad that this Instagram post that Brenden posted was the only post of all his Instagram posts where comments were not enabled. That tells you everything right there. The Leeds faithful were not happy in the slightest. And Leeds kind of had to take a different direction. They fired the coach, or should I just say the manager was sacked. The manager of Leeds at the time was also Jesse Marsh, the manager for the Canadian men's national team. And this next year maybe didn't prove to be much easier. He was on loan to the German Bundesliga team, FC Berlin. And I know you may think, oh, Bundesliga, Germany, top 5 league, it must be great. Well, they were actually facing relegation. So his job for the year he was on loan is to help keep this team from being relegated. So It was a very different tactical approach that he had to take. It was a lot more defense. He wasn't allowed to be as creative as he was at his other stops in Salzburg or in Philly. So he was really just, had to grind this year out. They did avoid relegation, so I mean, that was awesome. But yeah, that was a grinder year for him to come back to Leeds and try and get them out of relegation and back into the Premier League. And the Medford Messi did just that. In his return to Elan Road, he didn't just come back saying, oh, we're in the first league, so I'm going to lower my standards. No, he did everything he could in his power to get that team back to the Premier League. He was once again the primary creative engine, unlike in Berlin. So he was able to take a lot more risks, use his creativity a lot more, and he had a career high. So he had 9 goals, and all of those goals were a part of one goal, and that was to win the English First League and make their triumphant return back to the Premier League. And best believe they did it. After his home club being relegated, then having to go to Berlin to keep them from being relegated, then having to come back to take a team from being relegated to a promotion back to the Premier League. He had a heck of a 2 years, but it created a monster. It made him 10 times more resilient. It made him smarter. It made him more tactical. So everything happens for a reason in your career, and you got to realize that. In this past season, Brenden showed not only is he just a Premier League player, but he really belongs. As a primary piece for a team that's starting to stabilize in the Premier League, he's definitely showing that he belongs and that he can make a name in this league. He logged 9 goal contributions this season and had a couple Premier League players of the match and Leeds players of the month. And rightfully so, he earned the Leeds faithful respect, their love, and adoration. Because, as I mentioned before, it wasn't always like that. And he definitely got booed at one point. But this next part is to show you that through a career like this, through all the ups and downs, you need a lady that loves you by your side. Because those early Leeds days when he was struggling, the Leeds faithful at one point were booing him, and after the game he went to his fiance and was like, were they booing me? And like an amazing fiance, somebody that truly loves you should, she was like, no. She went straight to Delulu land for her man. She was like, no, they weren't booing you, that was just a chant they were doing. And he was like, he really appreciated it because he knew it would hurt his feelings. But those are the kind of people that you need to keep in your life. Those are the kind of people you need to keep around. And rightfully so, he put a ring on that finger and married that woman. But in a little funny course of events, the wedding was actually during this year's World Cup training camp. So Brenden had to leave training camp to go get married over the weekend, then return to training camp. But although all of his national team members couldn't attend his wedding, they definitely showed him a lot of love, as you can see. Speaking of showing a lot of love, there's nobody we love more than family, right? And Brenden has quite the family when it comes to the game of football. And when I say Brenden grew up in a soccer household, I mean that quite literally, because they used their basement to get skill and drill work in. So Brenden actually has a brother, Paxton, who is a very accomplished soccer player also. Paxton also came up in what they call the dungeon, which was meant to work on any of the deficiencies that they had in their game. So Paxton, coming up under Big Bro, followed his every move, and Lil Bro Paxton was eventually signed to a Bundesliga team himself in Germany, and he now plays for the Colorado Rapids in the MLS. One of the coolest things about Paxton's ascension is that he's been able to make a few appearances on the U.S. men's national team alongside his brother, which, I mean, come on, you can't beat that. Playing at the highest level for your country with your brother. And on top of that, they currently have a younger sister who's playing for Villanova. So shout out to her also. I know the Aaronson family and the town of Medford, New Jersey is proud of all of them. And to Brenden, even though the World Cup didn't end how I'm sure you wanted it to, and you didn't get the minutes that you wanted to, you've been an amazing role model to your town and in the towns of all the clubs across the world that you've been in. Here's a 1% salute. In 2030, you'll be here before we know it. Hey, and hopefully you'll have your brother Paxton rolling with you when you go. Shout out to the Medford Messi. And that's it for our hometown hero spotlight for this week. If you made it to the end, thank you for rocking out with me. Please like, comment, subscribe. All of that helps. I'm an independent creator who just loves telling the stories of great athletes. Until next time, 1%ers, later.